Senator Roger Marshall of Kansas joins us now. Senator, as always, thank you for your time. Before we get into this bill, I just wanted to ask you about the temperature, the mood of everyone on the Hill right now. I feel like there's a sense of urgency to get this done and get it to the president's desk by that July 4th deadline.
Well, you can tell it's Seersucker Thursday, so it's a really good move. We got the White House picnic tonight, and really, I think that's a sign of the Republican Party coming together, that even in the seriousness of the situation, we're making great progress. Look, this bill is going to prevent the largest tax increase in American history. This is going to mean $1,000 a month of Americans getting to keep their own hard-earned money. Look, it is tense up here in its own world, but I just never seen the Republican caucus so together. And this really is a Republicans only exercise right now. The Democrats will not support this tax cuts.
Well, Senator, let's start with this budget. How will it give farmers the certainty and support that they need?
Yeah, you know, I'm just so proud of what we've done on the agriculture portion of this. First of all, $50 billion for crop insurance. $50 billion for the Title I programs, the ARC and the PLC, and that's mandatory spending. So over the next 10 years, you put those together, there's $100 billion that we're going to help with crop insurance and the Title I funding. But, you know, first and foremost, farmers are businessmen and women, right? So making these Trump tax cuts permanent, and I'm talking about bonus depreciation and 199A, your listeners know exactly what I'm talking about. Those are very important. There's also a tax credit called 45Z, which is vitally important to rural America. This is how we're going to take soybeans or corn and turn it into jet fuel, but we need a tax credit to get that industry up and going as well. So those are just a few examples of how this is going to help American farmers and American rural America.
Well, Senator, we also hear from, of course, many in the rural community. They're concerned about the cut to Medicaid. Access to health care in rural hospitals, a big problem. Of course, you as a doctor having run one of those hospitals, these institutions, they depend on Medicaid. Maybe you can speak to some clarity on how these institutions will be protected.
Well, look, we're going to protect Medicaid. We're going to make it better. We want to strengthen it for those who need it the most. And like you said, I know as much about a rural hospital as anybody does up here. They're actually much more dependent upon Medicare, but Medicaid has a little bit of influence. So we're going to do our best to make sure there's a carve out to protect those rural hospitals. There aren't that many of them. The critical access hospital system is much different. They're guaranteed a Medicare plus rate as well. So we'll do our very best. But the very best thing we could do for those hospitals is give them a strong agriculture economy. Hospitals are a reflection of the economy. They don't drive the economy. So anything we can do to help the American farmer is going to help those hospitals as well.
Well, speaking of the economy, maybe you can speak to as well these SNAP benefits. It's been a sticking point, right, from day one. Rural areas, lower income families, they depend on this. What we'll see here, what do you think needs to happen here? What is the Senate calling for?
Look, we'll probably not go quite as deep with this as maybe the House did, but at least 70% of Americans want some type of work requirements. And that's what our focus will be is work requirements. Look, we have 7 million healthy American men out there working age that are not working, 7 million of them. And they're on Medicaid and they're on food stamps. Let's help those people find a job. I hear there's a lot of jobs in rural America. So if you don't have a job, we'll train you up. We'll get you out there working on the pipeline or in the oil field or out there on some of these farms as well. So look, I don't want anyone to go to bed hungry. We're not going to let that happen. But on the other hand, it would be good for the health of these people that are able to work to get them back and working. And again, I think 70% of Americans generally support some type of work requirements if you're on government aid.
Senator, next steps? What are we looking at?
Wow. So I hope we get pen to paper this week. And I think that's when the real negotiating starts. Look, we're still in the seventh inning here. It's a seventh inning stretch. When we get pen to paper by this weekend, I think the real debates will start next week as we start trying to move, $1 million here and $1 million there. But I just want everyone to rest assured I'm going to be out there speaking for rural America, speaking for agriculture, protecting 45Z, protecting crop insurance, protecting these reference prices, trying to grow the rural American economy as well. So I know I just can't emphasize enough. I was just with the president, I think it was last Thursday. I was in the White House again yesterday, that this president has the back of farmers and ranchers, and we're going to do everything we can to make us successful as well.
Senator, thank you so much, as always, for your time.